In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, all thanks and praise be to Allah, the Lord of the mankind. Our dear students, sons and daughters, peace be upon you all and good morning. It's an English session for grade 3rd secondary scientific section. Our title today is Unit 5, Summary of 7, 9 and 11, Literature. Study the following. Most stories are written in the past, but when we summarize or review a story, we use the present. Most stories are written in the past, القصص كلها in the past, but when we summarize, the meaning of summarize is to write in short. نلخصها, we use the present. The first novel we are talking about is David Copperfield. David Copperfield is one of the most famous novels written by the English author Charles Dickens. David Copperfield is one of the most famous novels. David Copperfield, it's a novel written by an English author. Charles Dickens. Okay, David Copperfield is a novel. It's written by English author, مؤلف إنجليزي. His name is Charles Dickens. This novel was written in 1850 and is set in London. This novel, it was written in 1850 and it was set in London. It's a classic novel. David Copperfield is one of the most famous novels written by an English author, Charles Dickens. It was written in 1850 in London and it's a classic novel. It tells the life story of David Copperfield. David Copperfield is a name of a person which the novel was written about. It tells the life story of David Copperfield. The most important thing in this novel, the best thing in this novel is the characters. They are entertaining and never boring. The best thing in this novel is the characters, الشخصيات, because they are entertaining and never boring. The writer here recommended reading this novel. Why? الكاتب هنا بينصح قراءة الرواية دي. ليه؟ Because it talks about a kind of people you meet in your life and about the importance of friendship. The writer here recommended reading this novel because it's the kind of people you meet in your life and about the importance of friendship. David Copperfield is a novel written by an English author, Charles Dickens. It was written in 1850 in London. It's a classic novel. It tells the life story of a boy, David Copperfield. The best thing in this novel is the characters, because they are entertaining and never boring. I recommend reading this novel because it's the kind of people you meet in your life and about the importance of friendship. The second character we're talking about is Jules Verne. Jules Verne. Jules Verne. Jules Verne was a 19th century writer. Jules Verne, 19th century writer. 19th century writer. He is considered to be the father of science fiction. He is considered to be the father of science fiction. He was born in France, 1828. Died in France, 1905. David Copperfield is a novel. It was set in London and written in 1850. But Jules Verne was a 19th century writer. He is considered to be the father of science fiction. He was born in France 1828 and died also in France in 1905. Carlos Linnaeus. Carlos Linnaeus was a Swedish. Carlos Linnaeus was a Swedish. He was born in Sweden. He was born in Sweden. He was a famous botanist and biologist. Carlos Linnaeus was a Swedish botanist and biologist. Botanist and biologist. Botanist عالم نبات, biologist عالم أحياء. This botanist and biologist devised a system for classifying plants. He divided the plants into 5. He divided all living things into 5 kingdoms. As we agreed that Carlos Linnaeus, Swedish botanist and biologist, he devised all plants and divide all living things into 5 kingdoms. قسم كل الكائنات الحية ل5 مملكات, including animals and plants. من ضمن المملكات دي animals and plants. But as we know, he was a botanist, so he was interested in plants. Carlos Linnaeus divided all living things into 5 kingdoms, including animals and plants, but he was interested in plants. So he divided the plant kingdom into 4 different phyla. He divided all living things into 5 kingdoms, but he was interested in plants, so he divided the plant kingdom into 4 different phyla. مهتم بالنباتات، علشان كده قسمها ل4 شعب. What are they? They are bryophytes, ferns, conifers, angiosperms. Divided the plant kingdom into 4 different phyla: bryophytes, ferns, conifers, angiosperms. But the most important one, أهم واحدة في ال4 شعب دول, angiosperms. Angiosperms. These plants produces seeds and flowers. النباتات دي تنبت بذور وأزهار. يبقى the most important phylum is angiosperms. Plants produce seeds and flowers, so he divided the angiosperms into 2 classes. Into 2 classes. First, kingdoms, but he was interested in the plant, so he divided the plant into 4: bryophytes, ferns, conifers, and angiosperm. The most important one is angiosperms, so he divided it into 2 classes. Classes have the same meaning as types. Monocotyledon, 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 dicotyledon, dicotyledon. These are the 2 classes or types which the angiosperms are divided. monocotyledon اللي هي نباتات أحادية الفلقة. Leaves, their leaves are narrow with parallel veins. Their leaves are narrow with parallel veins. Leaves الأوراق narrow ضيقة with parallel veins. شرايين أو عروق اللي بنشوفها في الأوراق بس إيه parallel متوازية. يبقى the first type is monocotyledon نباتات أحادية الفلقة. Their leaves are narrow with parallel veins. الأوراق بتاعتها بالشكل ده ضيقة وليها شرايين متوازية. أما المونوكوتيليدون's leaves, their leaves are broad. Broad has the same meaning as wide. Okay? Their leaves are broad or wide with a main vein. from which others branch off. Dicotyledon's leaves are broad. الورقة عريضة. with a main vein لها شريان رئيسي في الوسط. from which منه other veins شرايين تانية branch off تتفرع. يبقى الانجيوسبيرمز was divided into two classes or types. Monocotyledon, their leaves are narrow with parallel veins, and dicotyledon, their leaves are broad with a main vein from which others branch off. The next largest group, groups are the order and family. The next largest groups are the order and family. As we agreed that kingdom, phyla. Number 3, classes. Number 4, order. Number 5, family. These are the groups which Carlos Linnaeus divided the plants into. Finally, the groups, genus and species. Finally, the groups or the smallest groups are genus and species, الأجناس والفصائل. The smallest group is species. So organisms are alike and can breed together. But the next smallest group, تاني أصغر مجموعة, genus, organisms have many similarities. But can't breed together. The last group is species. Organisms are like الكائنات اللي موجودة في التصنيف ده متشابهة and can breed together وتتكاثر سويا. The next smallest group, تاني أصغر مجموعة, genus. Organisms have many similarities. الكائنات فيها تشابه كبير but can't breed together. It's Allah who bestows success and guides us to the straight path. For homework, page 36 workbook. Thanks for listening and goodbye.